Immigration officers smashed forgery syndicate that helped mainland residents apply for entry permits under the Top Talent Pass scheme. A court case over a transgender person's rights to use opposite-sex toilets. Hello and welcome to TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. Immigration officers have smashed a forgery syndicate that supplied mainland residents with fake credentials to obtain entry permits under the Top Talent Pass scheme. 5 syndicate members and 13 permit applicants were arrested. The Immigration Department said the syndicate charged up to $2.5 million per application. Samantha Lee tells us more.
A large amount of bank deposit slips, a record book of the syndicate, suspected fraudulent credentials, as well as employment contracts were seized by immigration officers during their operation in April. Authorities said the syndicate promoted a service on mainland social media platforms, touting that they can help people obtain Hong Kong resident status without a prolonged physical presence. Applicants had to pay $1 to $1.5 million for the fraudulent documents, including forged overseas university certificates and student visas, as well as fake employment records and so on. After the applicants were granted permits under the talent scheme, the syndicate will again charge $600,000 to $1 million for follow-up services, such as providing local employment and salary records for applying for an extension of stay. The arrestees included 5 syndicate members and 13 mainlanders who applied for the talent pass. The applicants are aged between 27 to 47. All of them were accused of making false statements, while the agency members were additionally charged with money laundering. The authorities believe the syndicate had been in operation for a year and a half. It allegedly has handled at least 22 cases, involving up to $55 million in total. Assistant Principal Immigration Officer Ho Chi Kin said people who wish to stay in Hong Kong do not require a middleman to help with their application. He added that applicants who have obtained residency through fraudulent means may be liable to criminal consequences and lose their right to stay in Hong Kong. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
The Police Force's National Security Department has filed charges against an 18-year-old man accusing him of writing seditious words in a Tsim Sha Tsui men's bathroom. The man appeared in court today and the case has been adjourned. The man was taken to West Kowloon Magistrates Court this afternoon, charged with 1 count of committing an act with seditious intention and 3 counts of criminal damage. The prosecution said the seditious words provoked hatred, contempt, or disaffection against the constitutional order and the executive, legislative, and judicial authority of the Hong Kong SAR. Sources say the words "Liberate Hong Kong," "Revolution of Our Times," were written in a men's bathroom at China Hong Kong City in Tsim Sha Tsui. A Hong Kong court on Wednesday sided with a transgender person who challenged legislation that criminalizes them from using public toilets that match with their chosen gender identity. Mimo Singhai reports.
Applicant K was a female to male transsexual person. He was diagnosed with gender dysphoria in 2017. He filed the legal bid in 2022, hoping to change the provisions in the public conveniences regulation that forbid people from entering opposite-sex public toilets unless they are under the age of 5, accompanied by an opposite-sex relative or nurse. At the time of the application, Kay was undergoing the process of real-life experience, a time period which he needed to live consistently with his identified gender. Kay received a gender identity letter from the doctor, proving that he had been going through the real-life experience and was to to be treated as a male in social contexts. It also states that the usage of men's public toilets is a crucial part of treatment and transition. However, the law does not recognize gender identity letters, meaning K was prohibited from using male public toilets. In his judgment, Judge Russell Coleman says the provisions of the regulation is against the basic law. He rules the relevant provisions in the regulation not effective, but a 12-month suspension is given to the declaration to provide time for the government to consider if they wish to implement a way to deal with the contravention. Memos 9, TVB News.
The observatory says another 2 tropical cyclones have formed near the Philippines, but they will not directly affect Hong Kong. The observatory forecasts that Tropical Cyclone Francisco, now to the east of the Philippines, will move in the direction of the vicinity of the Ryukyu Islands in the next 2 days. Meanwhile, an area of low pressure near northern Luzon has intensified into a tropical depression. It's expected to maintain a distance of over 600 kilometers from Hong Kong and move towards the seas east of Taiwan. Its direct threat to Hong Kong is not high. Locally, the weather will be fine with sunny periods and a few showers in the coming days. U.S. President Donald Trump says he may visit China in the not-too-distant future. This as the U.S. announced Washington and Beijing officials will meet in Stockholm next week to discuss an extension of the deadline for negotiating a trade deal.
Well, we have a lot of meetings possible. President Xi has invited me to China, and we'll probably be doing that in the not-too-distant future, a little bit out, but not too distant. And I've been invited by a lot of people, and we'll make those decisions pretty soon.
Trump says the U.S. and China have a very good relationship, and China is supplying magnets to the U.S. in record numbers. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the meetings with his Chinese counterparts will take place next Monday and Tuesday, with discussions on rebalancing the U.S.-China trade relationship. Bessent says the 2 sides will be working out what is likely to be an extension beyond the original deadline, as well as discussing issues including China's overcapacity in manufacturing. In a post on X, Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson welcomes the talks in his country, saying they're important for the global economy. Still ahead, growing pressure on Israel to lift restrictions on the flow of aid to the Gaza Strip. Protests in Ukraine against legislative amendments that curb the autonomy of anti-graft agencies. And new giant panda sculptures in the lobby of the Legislative Council building. Welcome back. U.S. President Donald Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, will travel to Europe this week for meetings on Israel's war in Gaza and to push for a ceasefire. 15 people in Gaza starved to death in the past 24 hours, and more than 100 aid and rights groups have called on governments to take action on the growing hunger situation there. The UN Security Council has urged the 193 UN member nations to use all possible means to settle disputes peacefully. Tracy Furness reports.
Explosions light up the night sky over Gaza as Israeli operations continue. By day, Palestinians gather along the Rashid coastal road, hoping to receive food from trucks, possibly entering through the Zikim crossing. But many return empty-handed or did not return at all. Israeli troops had opened fire on aid seekers Sunday, killing 85 Palestinians. The Israeli army said troops fired warning shots, adding that the reported death toll was greatly inflated. Injured Palestinians were seen on car roofs, while others walked miles back from the Zikim area, but only a few clutching sacks of flour. This displaced man said, "You negotiators sitting in Qatar and Turkey, what are you negotiating about? People are dying in Gaza. We have no one left in Gaza. We go to die to bring food, and you sit in your chair eating in Qatar." This as US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff was heading to the Middle East. The US is trying once again to reach a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas, a breakthrough that has eluded the administration for months.
In my conversation with the Secretary, he has noted that Special Envoy Witkoff is heading to the region now, to the Gaza area. We all have, as does the President and the Secretary and the Envoy, a strong hope that we will come forward with another ceasefire, as well as a humanitarian corridor for aid to flow, that both sides have in fact agreed to this.
Meanwhile, EU's top diplomats said on Tuesday that all options are on the table if Israel does not deliver on its pledges to facilitate humanitarian aid to Gaza. A UK-based Gaza analyst said the EU's condemnation of Israel's actions in Gaza is long overdue, but adds the statement signed by 28 nations this week lacks a plan of action.
It's a good step in the right direction, long overdue, but words are not nearly enough. So I think it is absolutely essential to take action. So where I see the statement of the 28 states lacking is in an action plan. And I think the action plan is known. It needs to be to take care of an immediate humanitarian mechanism that will replace the so-called Gaza Humanitarian Fund, which has been a colossal failure.
UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, in an interview with the Associated Press, said there is only one way to solve the crisis in Gaza.
There is only one way out that is acceptable. That way out that is acceptable means that we have an immediate permanent ceasefire, an immediate and unconditional release of all hostages, and full humanitarian access without any restrictions, and paving the way for a serious political process leading to the two-state solution.
Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Thousands of people gathered in Kyiv and other cities across Ukraine to urge President Volodymyr Zelensky to veto a controversial bill that threatens the country's anti-corruption infrastructure. It marked the first major rally against the government in more than 3 years of war. On Tuesday, Ukraine's parliament passed legislation that will tighten oversight of two key anti-corruption agencies. Critics say this could significantly weaken their independence and give the president's circle greater sway over investigations. Zelensky signed the bill into law. Fighting corruption is crucial for Ukraine's bid to join the European Union and maintain access to billions of dollars in Western aid. Coca-Cola says it will add a cane sugar version of its trademark cola to its U.S. lineup this autumn. This after U.S. President Donald Trump earlier alluded to the move. Trump said in a social media post last week, Coca-Cola had agreed to use American cane sugar in its flagship product in the U.S. Coca-Cola chairman and CEO James Quincy said Coke will expand its product range to reflect consumer interest in differentiated experiences. Quincy noted that the company uses cane sugar in some other U.S. drinks like its Simply brand lemonade and Honest Tea. Coca-Cola has sold Mexican Coke, which is made with cane sugar, in the U.S. since 2005. For decades, the company and the makers of other soft drinks have generally used high fructose corn syrup or artificial sweeteners in their products manufactured in the U.S. However, American consumers are increasingly looking for food and drinks with more natural ingredients. Back locally, the body of an 18-year-old girl was found at Lion Rock Country Park. The girl had gone missing for over a week. Firefighters, civil aid service personnel, and policemen found the body on the second day of their search. A helicopter later took the body to a mortuary. Police have classified the case as a body found. CCTV footage shows the deceased, Daisy Kwok, heading uphill towards Lion Rock Country Park all by herself. Kwok was reported missing last Monday and was seen last seen at Lok Fu Place the same day. A pair of new giant panda sculptures has been unveiled at the Legislative Council and will be displayed in the lobby starting today. Designed under the prototype of the first Hong Kong-born giant panda twins, Jia and De, the adorable panda sculptures are there to welcome the public to visit. Jenny Zhang reports.
Standing 1.5 meters tall and weighing nearly 300 pounds, the giant panda sculpture has undergone a 3-month design process and was gifted by the China Tourism Group. Both pandas are dressed in suits. The elder sister Jia holds the rules of procedure, while the younger brother De appears to be given an interview with microphones. President of the Legislative Council, Andrew Long, says the council has always supported the government in promoting the panda economy and showcasing Hong Kong's charm as a city where tourism is everywhere. Long also hopes the sculpture will become a must-visit photo spot for all guests who come to the council. Fan Yunjun, board member and general manager of China Tourism Group, says the company will continue to support Hong Kong in making use of panda as an intellectual property, which helps to develop more unique tourism projects in the future. Another panda sculpture with Hong Kong's iconic pineapple buns and egg tarts is one of the popular exhibits in the carnival Hello Pandas held in December 2024. China Tourism Group is lending this sculpture to the Legislative Council for exhibition until the end of October. The two panda sculptures at the Legislative Council not only add charm to the city, but also help boost the panda economy, enhancing Hong Kong's unique culture and tourism development. Jenny Jiang, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.